The basic economic problems. The basic economic problem is that there is um, unlimited ones. There's unlimited ones, but then limited resources. Resources are finite and needs wants. Resources of finite and needs slash wants are infinite, so resources must be used optimally. Is that optimal? It's not optimal. Define scarcity. Scarcity is um uh, a lack of a finite resource. A lack of a finite resource. That's what I'm gonna say. When there is a shortage of resources in relation to the quantity slash needs. I guess. I guess. Define opportunity cost. An opportunity cost is the next best alternative for God. There we go. Yeah, the value of the next percent answer for them. Now we go. What three things must we consider when producing a good? The three things we must consider when producing good is the economic agents, the government, competition, consumers, what to produce, how to produce, and who to produce it for. Name a few business objectives. Okay. Satisficing is one. That's where you just do do as much as you need, nothing more, nothing less. Okay. And so we have one, self satisficing. Two, profit maximization. Three, sales maximization. What else? Um, environmental. Environmental factors slash social objectives. Okay, let's see what they say. Sales maximization. We're going to say that market share maximizing survival. No, survival as well. survival and system satisfaction. That's a good one. What is profit satisfying when my phone choose to advocate for this? So this um, profit satisfying is when you just go for a certain amount of profit that you can like have a living. You don't go for any super normal profits that you don't actually need if for like a normal person. So I'd say is when maybe there's like uh, maybe it's a business that is a charity, not a charity. Charities don't make profit. It'd be more of a maybe a company run by a person that's like a parent. They want to spend more time with the children. It'll be more their goal is more to spend their time with their family. Mm. Because when a firm earns just enough to keep shareholders happy. Oh yeah, that's a good reason. Because when there's rules of ownership and control whereby managers will make enough profit to keep shareholders happy while still maintaining their own objectives. Yes, so one of their own objectives might be spending more time with the family. Give the equations of profit maximization. So I know it's sales maximization equals marginal cost equals um marginal revenue. I don't know what the profit one is. Oh, I got it wrong. Profit maximization is marginal cost that equals marginal revenue. And sales maximization is average cost equals average revenue. So what is corporate social responsibility? That's one. Uh, a farm is responsible for all aspects of the which the chain production, the supply supply chain. The full example of the responsibility. I have no idea. I think like Example of corporate social responsibility. Lego has made significant strides in corporate responsibility by focusing on sustainability as a lead toy manufacturer. Lego aims to reduce its carbon footprint, promote environmental stewardship. Some of their key initiatives include sustaining materials. Lego plans to use environmental friendly materials for its all purposes. So yeah, I found that out. Name the different types of stakeholders. So stakeholders would be patent. Stakeholders we have are the owners, shareholders, consumers, local community. We also have pressure groups. We also have some economic agents. Managers or employees. A government and suppliers. We've got the stakeholders. Give a brief description of the principal agent problem. What is that? Describes how the agent who makes decisions for the principal acts in their own best interests, linked to the theory of asymmetric information, occurs when the owner of the farm sells their shares, thereby partially losing control of the state's output. Okay, we have finished those flashcards. Next flashcards. Give a brief description of the theory of creative destruction, where innovation leads to okay. Thanks.
It's the brew.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Where innovation leads to the obsolescence of uh, other other goods, such as the CD replacing or destroying the what's it called, like the Walkman, the cassette player, the CD creatively destroyed that, and now I guess we don't have CDs, so Spotify creatively destroyed it. Proposed by Schumpeter, this is the idea that new entrepreneurs are innovative and grow more productive than old idle firms who eventually forced out the market. So I guess it can also be used in a market way instead of just products. Oh, yep, DVDs and Blu-ray. But I don't understand how Blu-ray didn't really replace DVDs. I always just got DVDs, so don't really know where that idea comes from. Like, what was so good about Blu-ray? Do not even know. What is the main incentive for entrepreneurs? I guess to get a profit. A profit. That is the main. Yep, making most of the profit. How do entrepreneurs make profit? They make profit by selling goods. I guess by meeting consumer demand. About gaps in the market. Oh, they do this by bringing the four factors of production together: land, labor, capital, enterprise. Classic economics, right? Doesn't even mean anything. Recall to non-financial motives: independence, then flexibility, being youngless, and then like personal objectives and stuff. Yeah, the personal objectives would be the ethical stance and stuff like that. The vital objective. Well, he literally just told me land, labor, capital, enterprise. Oh, it said define. Okay. Land is the natural materials, as I just saw. Labor is the workers. Oh, wow. Capital is the money and the equipment. And like, wait, did I already say that? Okay, let me think. Where? I know land though. And then enterprise is the entrepreneur. What is specialization? Specialization is where individuals or certain people specialize in tasks, which is they focus on one task and do it well, and eff- efficiently. So an example of that, what's happening? Uh, so an example of that, what's happening? Uh, hello. Right, factor for production together. Okay, that's not what's on the stream. I don't know what this flipping thing is talking about. Am I stretch res? Have I been stretch res though? That is something that's happening, I think. Okay, I told you what specialization. Let's see if I'm right. Because when each worker completes a specific task in the production process aimed at improving efficiency and thus the average cost reduction. So this can happen on a global scale. So different countries specialize in different things. And I'd say England specializes in finance, France specializes in wine, maybe. Germany specialises in cars, and then you can also have it on inside a country level. So where basically inside a country, different places in that country do different things. So I guess London would be the more financial place, and maybe where else, like Manchester more of a used to be more of a mining place. I don't know. I can't think of an example in England. It's like mainly just import stuff really. Okay, give a few benefits of the benefits. A few benefits of the benefits. What's someone wouldn't write that right? A few benefits and drawbacks of specialization. So, a benefit of specialization would be the the efficiency increase, the average cost decreasing, and then also there's what so that means it's cheaper, means more efficient. I guess a worker doesn't need to do everything; they just need to do one thing, maybe. And then drawbacks would be that workers feel demotivated. They have to do the same thing every day, and then also that if one worker goes away and they're the only one that specialises in that thing, then no other one can take over. So high output, opportunities for greater economies of scale. That's what I said. Give workers work becomes monotonous and demotivating. Give rise to structural unemployment, as some skills may not be transferable. Why would high interest rates be seen as a disadvantage? Okay, disadvantage of firms would be that higher interest rates. What happens when there's high interest rates? When there's high interest rates, um, this means that people are going to save more because they get more on their like savings, get more interest when they get it back. But then that also means that there'll be less borrowing and less spending. So for firms, that would be bad because less spending is you're not going to get as many sales and then less profit. I guess that is not as good as what you would want. And I'm trying to think of any other ways that would be a disadvantage for firms. Maybe their borrowing costs will be more expensive, so less expansion for them because they don't want to borrow as much to expand. High interest rates will imply getting a loan is more expensive, which raises the cost of production. So it also encourages saving or less spending on the consumer side, which will result in less profit for the firm. Again, draw a tax diagram of supply and demand with a perfectly inelastic leverage one. So an inelastic would be a change in price would make a not very big change in demand. So it'd be quite straight line. Draw a diagram of supply and demand with perfect inelasticity level demand. So let me make that more dramatic. So supply goes like that, demand goes like that. For a tax diagram, so a tax would be what type of tax rate? They're not explaining. So I'm gonna say indirect tax because that would be an effect. That would lead to a shift in demand. So that's the equilibrium. And we get increase in price, which decreases demand only by a little bit. But now what do I click on? Okay, now we'll go on JD Sports, guys. What should we buy? Okay. Okay, a bit expensive to be honest. I got this North Face jumper. Let's see how much that cost. Face hoodie. How much did I got this North Face hoodie from charity shop and it was pretty cheap. Mine's got a big look. Cannot find it. Mine's not as fancy as that is. Oh, that is similar to mine. Go on there. Why am I looking at shop? Oh, that is my hoodie. That is my hoodie I have on right now. That's a little kid wearing it, so It's not me. That's 30 quid for a little kid. How much would it be for medium? Same price. So you're telling me that they're the same price, even though you have more material. Okay, why am I doom scrolling on JD Sport? Let's carry on. So, oh, perfectly inelastic level demand is actually a straight line. Oh, okay. I thought perfectly in I don't know. What's the relationship between exchange rates and the level of imports and exports? If the exchange rate is low, which means depreciation means that exports will rise, imports decrease. If there is appreciation, exports will decrease and imports will increase. This is because if exports, if appreciation, if depreciation occurs, this means that exports become more expensive. No, become cheaper because the other country can purchase more with their currency for our goods. Okay, I think I got it right. I said I think. Let me check if I got it right. High exchange rates means imports cheaper, exports dearer. I don't know what if low exchange rate means depreciation, then that's what I mean. So how could a high rate of employment benefit firms? More choice for employees in the markets, in the labour market, more choice of who to employ. Um, it can charge less wages because it's less competitive. There's more people. An increase in unemployment means there is a larger supply of labour, which gives firms bargaining power and the ability to reduce wages, thus lowering overall cost of production. That's what I said. That's what I said. What could unpredictable inflation price for firms? A sudden decrease in spending, a sudden increase in cost of productions, which means that profit decreases. Um, Oversupply because there's less demand. Reduce overall business confidence as it is a bit difficult to anticipate future interest rates, unemployment rates, economic growth. Therefore, firms cut down on their investment and wait for calm economic conditions. Okay, thank you very much. Oh, to the end of that segment. Introducing the market. Define effective demand, individual demand, and market demand. Effective demand is demand where you can actually pay, so that demand actually does something. It doesn't matter if you have a demand and you actually, so say I wanted cheesecake and I didn't have the money to pay for it. That would not be effective demand because I have the desire for cheesecake, but I can't purchase it, so that demand is useless. An individual demand would be one person maybe wanting it, so I don't know really. Market demand is where the whole, I don't know, let's see what they have to say. Quantity that consumers are willing to buy at a current market price. The demand of an individual or firm, the sum of all individual demands in the market. So yeah, three, it's just basically what they say on the tin. Draw an individual demand curve and show what would happen to the quantity given an increase in demand. Come on, bro. Do you think I'm 3 years old? Price and quantity. And draw an individual demand curve and show that would happen to the quantity given an increase in demand. So an increase in demand is a shift to the right. Increase in demand will increase quantity demanded. Increase quantity because there's more demanded. But there we go. Okay. Very good. How do prices affect it? Prices affect the demand curve. They contract and it contracts it and it's the other word contracts and expands and contracts. Prices do not all shift. The shifts are the things what does each Latin virus might stand for. That is population, income, related goods, advertisement, tastes, external shocks, and seasonality. There we go. There we go. All the three different types of supply. The three different types of the supply are labor supply, agricultural supply, and non-supply. So it's like composite supply and competitive. I did never heard of that much. Recall three reasons why the supply curve is upward sloping. It's upward sloping because of the law of supply, which says that when price increases, there's gonna be more supply because there's more incentive for profits. The price increases, more profitable for firms to supply the good. Higher prices encourage new firms to enter the market, and larger output increases costs which are passed on to consumers in the form of prices. How does larger output increase costs? I don't understand that. Because if you output larger, you get economies of scale and it becomes cheaper. So, what does each layer in the might stand for? It stands for technology, indirect tax. My mnemonic is Bingo's. Bingo's are barriers to trade, indirect tax, new technology, cost of production, government subsidies, other firms entering the markets, external costs, seasonality, regulation, productivity, indirect taxes, number of firms, technology, substitutes, weather, cost of production. Pint SWC. What kind of mnemonic is that? It doesn't say anything. Mnemonic. How will the exchange rate affect the lower supply? Well, if the lower supply, if it depreciates, then there'll be less demand, which means supply will decrease. A decrease in exchange rate boosts the cost of inventories, which increases the cost of production. Five, that's shifting the supply curve. Clear. Define and draw the market equilibrium. Define and draw the market equilibrium price. I already know what that is, mate. How is that on this question, bro? Draw and describe a market in excess demand. Excess demand is the one where supply, excess demand is down here. Yep, down there. The cons of using the supply and demand model to explain real problems. It's very oversimplified. They're not normally straight lines. You were using ceteris paribus, which is not real. Other things influence other things. Only certain markets assume prices increase means firms will supply more, assume perfect information, and assume perfect competition. What phrases describes the mechanic thus seen as planned? What three different product functions? Incentivation, rationing, and signaling. What is the difference between a mass market and niche market? Mass market is produce a lot of homogeneous goods, where basically produce the same sort of thing, but they have a production line which can take a lot of different take a lot of the same thing like car production, mass production. Where a niche market would be like the violinist. down the road. Not many customers really want it. No, not really people in the market will want it, but there will be a few customers and you can charge a lot of money because it's a niche market. Niche market is a smaller market focused on specific products. Why are niche markets generally better at allocating resources? Because they don't have communication problems per se, and they have less sorry about this. Cut and paste. Why are niche markets generally better at allocating resources? I'd say that's because they have less communication problems. They know everyone. They know everyone's needs. They have actual emotional connections. Niche market targets the consumer directly rather than generally. They are close to the consumer and therefore have a better idea of who needs what goods. Describe the difference between primary and secondary research. Primary research is where you do it firsthand. It's called field research. You do it yourself. You're there. Secondary research is where you get it from someone else, an outside source, like going online, looking at other companies, asking questions. Primary, you do it yourself. It costs more, but it's more specific to your brand. Evaluate the use of primary research or secondary over secondary research from primary. It's more specific to your firm, and yeah, it's pretty much may not be as useful. Define market research. Market research is where you first research the market you're going to go into so that you know what you're getting into and how you need to change your products maybe to fit that market, or how maybe you're not going to fit in that market and that you need to go to another market. Collection of data in order to learn about the moment and wants of consumer. It can also help you find a gap in the market. Not, their samples do not display the total population. Market segmentation is when you segment the market to allocate things more efficiently. So say you can segment to income, gender, location, like ethnicity. No, maybe not. Maybe like religion. Characteristics. How could you market segment benefits span so that they can allocate more effectively without wasting um, on example, segmentation. Example would be Apple's approach to targeting different age groups with tailored products and marketing strategies. For instance, they offer iPhones with features and designs appealing to young adults who often seek the latest technology trends, while iPads are marketed as family-friendly devices, emphasizing their utility for education and entertainment for children and parents. This segment allows Apple to cater to the diverse preference of various age demographics, maintaining a strong market presence and loyalty. How can markets, by characterizing consumers based on their needs, once firms can better target their goods to fulfill these specific needs? How does the market map work? Is where you basically do two axes of one thing, maybe like quality and price, and you see a gap in the market. But a gap in the market doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a good thing, because if there might be a gap in the market because it's been tried before and it doesn't work, but it shows you basically where other firms are at and how you can figure out where you want your business to be. Illustrates all the positions of products that can take based upon two dimensions where significant for consumers. It then identifies which existing products meet which consumer needs, thus identifying gaps for the new market participants to fill. Give examples of dimensions using the market, as I said, price and quantity, quality, quality and price. What other one for there? Um, maybe I have no idea what the other ones are. Heavy versus light. What the flip is that, mate? That's how is that a good one, though? When it does a firm have a competitive advantage over other market participants, they have an advantage. Firm has a competitive advantage over market participants. I don't know when. Tell me. This occurs when the firm is produces better products than its competitors in the same market. How can a firm gain a competitive advantage? If we use price, quality, and costs on each market to give itself unique features to make it stand out from a competitor in the same market. What is product differentiation? The act of distinguishing one product from another. How can value be added to products and services? G-O-D. Smell-o-vision. How can value be added to products and services? Value added to products and services. Value can be added through better quality, customer service, USP, convenience, a lot of stuff like that. Value can be added for product using a brand, quality, good services, unique features, and convenience for the consumer. How it frames a perfect competitive market determine the price of their goods and services by using the market price, the equilibrium price. Describe difference between stable markets and dynamic markets. Stable markets are whatever. I don't know, bro. Down. Stable market rarely changes the price of goods, whereas dynamic markets, the price of constantly changing. I guess an example would be of this is the fuel market is quite a quite a stable market. Okay, there we reach the end of that destination. Role of credit in the economy. Role of credit in the economy. One day, how do banks encourage and discourage saving and investment? Banks, through interest rates, um, encourage saving and investment. So if they want people to invest more, they will decrease the interest rate because that incentivizes people because they have less interest to pay back if they take out a loan. But if they want to increase saving, they will decrease the interest rate. No, they will increase the interest rate to allow people to get more money out of saving. So manipulate interest rates. So high interest rates encourage saving and discourage investing. Very good, very nice. What is a bank's main source of profit and how do they earn this? Let's find out. The bank's main source of profit is interest rates, which they earn through loaning consumers money. So they get, but they also get, I guess they also get money by investing in other things with the money made as well. What is the role of central bank? That is to manage the exchange rates and interest rates. Recall the names of central banks in European Union, England, United States. Central bank is the Bank of England. The United States is the Bank of America. And the European Union, the Federal Reserve. Okay. Name the rate that central banks control, which determines overall interest rates. Exchange rates. The base rate, the 2% base rate, thank you very much. What is a mortgage? A mortgage is a payment mainly on buildings. That is a loan that you have to pay back, but you have to have collateral. A mortgage is a loan taken out to buy a house, whereby the house is used as collateral in the event of default. I said the word collateral. What is Monetary Policy Committee and what do they do? The Monetary Policy Committee are the committee that set monetary policy. They're like the central government, I guess. I don't know. A group of 9 members independent of the government who meet frequently and just to discuss interest rates. Very interesting. Define risk. Risk, I would say, is how do I define risk? The probability of damage, loss, or injury occurring. How do banks face risk? They have to take out, they have to lend loans, which they don't know they can pay back. Recall the difference between limited and unlimited liability. In the event of insolvency, unlimited liability leaves the owner of the firm at risk of that own assets being repossessed to meet their financial obligations, whereas limited liability results in the owner only having to pay back invested in the firm. Name the 3 different types of credit. Trade credit, overdraft, and loans. What is trade credit? Trade credit is where the supplier allows you to pay back later instead of now, without no interest. Recall the pros and cons of overdrafts. Overdrafts have high interest rates, so that could be a con, but a pro is that if you go over, then you basically are good. They clutch you up with the good money. This rate is only paid on from the money borrowed. The interest rates are very high. The amount you borrow is limited. Recall 4 examples of sources of credit. Draft, overdraft, trade credit, capital enterprise, no, enterprise capital, enterprise, enterprise. Venture capital, that was what I was talking about, the banks, the venture capital is. What is a venture capital? A venture capital like the dragon. What is the major benefit of using personal savings to finance ventures? A major benefit of using personal savings to finance ventures is that you risk your own savings and you can't get it back once you use it. Money is paid, no interest, because the money is yours. Okay, that was a benefit. I want a disadvantage. Retain profits, you make profit from the business. And then you just put it back into the business. What is the scenario which would be wise for a firm to sell its assets to finance operations? What scenario would it be wise for a firm to sell its assets to finance if it has over under capacity utilization? Where is collateral funding usually conducted? In a court on the internet. Okay. Why would it be more expensive for small firms to access credit? Because they have more risk attached to them, so high interest rates. Okay, end of the section, end of the section. Okay, it's not loading. There we go. How many is there? Oh my goodness, about that. There's so many, about 40, 50. Okay, let's go back to number one. Market failure and government intervention. What do private costs determine about the goods produced? Private costs. Private cost determine about the good produced. They show you what the producer or the consumer, the person who is doing the thing, what the cost is for them. No third parties. How much the good should be produced and the market price of the good. So how much the good should be produced, the price of the good. What is the equation for the total social cost? The total social cost is the private cost and the social cost, and it's the social cost and what? Total social cost. Total social cost is the cost of production. The total social cost is the total social cost is the private cost. The private cost. It's the private cost, but also private cost and the public cost. External cost. That's it. External cost. Just say it was the public cost. Social cost formula. public costs, private, public, external, marginal social cost, minus benefit. Private marginal benefit, social marginal cost, social marginal cost, private marginal cost, marginal cost, social marginal cost, social marginal cost. Womp womp we want to fly away. We want to fly away. We want to fly away today. Ooh, we want to fly away. We want to fly away. We want to fly away. Social. Graphs. Social. Market failure graphs. Externality graph. What's that? You have the negative production externalities and the positive consumption externalities. Then you go, there you go. In this revision video, we look at the externalities. Well, show me the video then. In this revision video, we'll look at the externalities of production and account functions. Negative externalities from production when the marginal cost of production is higher than the marginal private cost. Example, airline railroad noise pollution result from factory emissions. Where the marginal social benefit of consumption is higher than the marginal benefit. Examples, community access to food raise extra benefit from museum. Okay, where's the video though? You didn't show me a video. I want negative externalities. It's not a flipping curve, is it? Junk food. Junk food and food adverts. Advert ban coming into effect with soft drinks, hard chocolate. The government estimates the ad ban will prevent around 20,000 cases of childhood obesity. Figures suggest 1 in 10 reception age children is now obese. A new online and TV ban on advertising of unhealthy food comes in full effect day after voluntary restrictions were introduced in October. The ban prevented ads for less healthy food and drinks that are high in saturated fat, salts, and sugar, appearing on television between 5:30 a.m. and 9 p.m. and online at any time. Ban applies to products that fall within 13 categories considered to play the most significant role in childhood obesity. These include soft drinks, chocolate, sweets, pizza, cakes, and ice cream, but also breakfast cereals and porridges, sandwiches, sweetened bread products, and yogurts. Products that belong to these categories will need to be assessed on whether they are considered less healthy, using a scoring tool that considers the nutrients levels on whether they are high in saturated fat, salt, and sugars. Only products that are being to 1 out of 13 calories and score outside the acceptable range are included in the advertising restrictions, which will be policed by the Advertising Standards Authority. Products that are assessed as healthier in both can still be advertised with government's help will lead to changes received by the food industry. Adverts plain oats and false porridge, mostly in granola, will not be affected, but some less healthy versions with added sugar, chocolate, or syrup can be faced with restrictions. Read more from Sky News.
City robs children of the best possible start in life, hits the poorest hardest, sets them up for of the NHS billions. So I can announce to the House we're expanding the soft drinks industry levy to include bottles and cartons of milkshakes, flavoured milk and milk substitute drinks. We're also reducing the threshold to 4.5 grams of sugar for 100 millilitres. Mr. Speaker, this government will not look away as children get unhealthier, and our political opponents urge us to leave them behind. Thank you. The only thing I would say is at least we're hearing it first. In this, Sir,